Hello, my name is Shaneman, and I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Pittsburgh studying computer engineering. During the internship this summer, I had the privilege to work in the Auton Lab under the guidance of Dr. Artur Dubrowski and Dr. Nick Gasolfi. Today, I will be sharing with you my research project, working toward automated comprehension of scientific literature. Our motivation for this project stems from the ever-increasing volume of scientific literature being published. Traditionally, extracting knowledge and insight from this vast body of work requires significant human effort. As researchers, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information we need to process to stay current in our fields. This challenge led us to ask, can artificial intelligence alleviate this burden? Can AI help us understand the state of the art in our research domains more efficiently? To address this, we formulated several key research questions. First, which papers contain the answer to my specific questions? Second, in what direction is AI research currently moving? And finally, can AI autonomously write comprehensive survey papers? So the proposed framework here, and I'm just going to walk through it really quick. So we have a database which it has right around 2.5 million abstracts and papers. So then we are going to split it up between abstracts and then the entire papers. So then we're going to hand that into this sentence transformer. And then the sentence transformer is then going to transform the text, the natural language text, into vector embeddings, which in the exact one we were using, the model is all NPNet base v2. And that one, it has 768 different dimensions. So each vector embedding for each chunk is 768 dimensions. So that's where we see it in the embeddings and the abstract slash chunk of the entire papers. So from here we can go two different ways. So we can either go towards the second research question or towards the first and third. So to start off, I'm just going to go towards the second since it is the shortest one. So from the embeddings, we're going to be using a clustering algorithm, which is the UMAP, which stands for the Uniform Manifold Approximation Projection, which that is what we're seeing here over on in the middle. And then so with those clusters, it's actually using a dimensionality reduction. So that's how it's being able to put it onto 2D, transforming it from the 768 different dimensions. So from this, we are able to extract in what direction is AI research moving. So from here, I'm going to move on to the results for the future of AI. So in the top picture, we can see that it's all the different topics of research. And then I plotted them on this plot where we can actually see that like the vector embeddings have very like distinct clusters. So we see all the astrophysics right here. We see a lot of the math kind of intertwine. And then, but we do have quantum physics, sorry, and physics kind of all together. And then there's also this out here, and I'm guessing that's just like where it has like the section titles and all that. So it's finding semantic relations with it for the similar structure. So, and then we're going to get on to the bottom one. So from this, I just grabbed the singular subject of computer science AI. And then from this, I used it to graph each individual year as a cluster. So as we can see, so kind of like the first years, they're kind of spread out all over, but we see definitely the earlier stages are in the bottom right. So this is our first point right here, and it bounces around a little. And then we do see it have kind of like I wouldn't say a linear trajectory, but we can definitely see the trend is moving into like the top left. So from here, we can see a relation between the year in the center of the clusters for the year. Especially in the last 4 to 5 years, we could actually extract some really nice information and be able to forecast, see what the potential like big research topic will be next year. So yeah, that is what I'm working on for that. And then, so now we're going to go back to the user prompt. So with the embeddings, the computer is then going to ask the user uh, to ask a question. So, for example, what is machine learning? So then it then runs the same sentence transformer to turn it into a vector embedding, and then it then uses the cosine similarity to find similarity between each vector embedding and the query. So then it will print out like the so the closer it gets to one is the closer it is in similarity. And then it can actually get into the negatives as well. So that's where you'll see it's like completely opposite of what you're looking at. So from there, we have a whole list of similarities. So then that's where you could look at which papers should I read to answer my question. So for that one, I'm just going to move over to the right where we have the chunking method and results. So the method was we are testing the effectiveness of chunking in a hierarchical documentary format. So this means that it's using the whole document and then it's breaking it down into the abstract methods and then results, and then using those different chunks and finding that using the hey nearest neighbors algorithm, it then recomputes it so that it breaks down the either the abstract methods or results, depending on which one it's in, it would break them down more and then be able to find a better semantic similarity. So computer, after you compute the chunk embeddings, we will prompt the user to input a query, and then we embed the prompt using the same sentence transformer used for the chunk embeddings. So we can see the test right here. It says, what question would you like to ask? And then what is machine learning? So we actually see that the highest similarity is 0.627, and then it kind of moves down from there. And then using that, you can index it so that you can see what is actually like the text that you're seeing. So in the output, it's, for example, tools and techniques which are machine learning and deep learning based require a large amount of training data to optimize their performance. So that pretty much concludes what we were able to do with the chunking methods. So if we go back down to where we were at before with the similarity, right here it branches off for the retrieval augmented generation or RAG systems. So that's where we would be able to write a good survey paper. So pretty much we weren't able to accomplish this in what we were doing today, but what you would have to do is, so first for the retrieval, so that's pretty much the similarity prompt. And then you also, to make it stronger, you can actually re-rank the query and the embeddings. So right now we're running the embeddings and the query at different times. So they're actually separate embeddings. So sometimes whenever you run it separately, you can get different outputs based off of how the text is structured. But if you re-rank it, it's actually running the chunk embeddings and the query embedding at the same time. So it keeps a lot of that semantic relationship like whole. So that is where we would go for the similarity to strengthen that. And then the generation part is then we would use, let's say, the top 100 papers we find for especially survey papers. You would want to use a large database, and then you would basically compute the embeddings to find the best information in those, and then output it, and then run it through an LLM like I think what was it, GPT, I think it was like 3.0 or 4.01 or something like that that just came out recently through NVIDIA. And those are really nice in being able to establish RAGs and generation pieces. So that's where we're planning on to go for future work. So in conclusion, with all the experiments that we have run and analyzed this summer, we can conclude that the pipeline we set up has provided a good starting point since we are getting satisfactory similarity scores and seeing a trend with the UMAP projections. So the satisfactory similarity scores. So pretty much you want to see something above zero point 0.5. If you're not getting something above zero point 0.5, you're probably asking something that's not in the data set, or you're using a wrong sentence transformer for the task, or you're running the two different at different times, and it's creating that much of a difference. And then for the forecasting, we're going to be trying to use concept drift. So instead of data drift, where it's really only looking at the how it's moving, the concept drift looks at the time and the spread in the data to be able to tell. So like a lot of these back and forth ones, it would actually be able to grab some information from that, even though we looking at it like we're like we don't really know what this would like we would never be able to predict. Like if this is going in a star, we would never be able to predict where it's going next. But up here, we can definitely predict. But with the concept drift, we would actually be able to pull information from here that would actually make it a better chance of predicting. Because in data drift, it keeps on analyzing and it keeps reusing the data. So whenever data drift, it takes account for this. And then as we're computing these up here where it has that unforeseen change, it would keep trying to use this data down here that it gathered and it learned to try to compute these. But with concept drift, it would actually be able to see like, hey, we're going on a totally different area. It would totally ignore what's over here and really focus in on what's happening in the last 4 to 5 years. And then it would be able to have a more accurate prediction. So I would just like to acknowledge, so this work is supported by the Robotics Institute, Carnegie Mellon University. I would just like to thank the risk organizers, Rachel Burson, Dr. John Dolan, and Morgan Grimm for making all this possible. And I also wanted to thank Dr. Artur Dabrowski and Dr. Nick Gasolfi for all the support they've given me this summer. Thank you.